Today we're going to talk about equanimity, or in Pali, in the Pali language, it's called Upekkha. So Upekkha is known as equanimity, and it is the 10th of the 10 perfections. It is also in the Abhidharma classified as one of the mental factors of developing equanimity as a boundless state. You know, there's the 4 boundless states. There's loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. So it's one of those states where you develop a mental state or a mind by thinking about things, about thinking that all beings are the same, that everything is happening according to one's karma, and so on. So there's a practice, a meditation that one can practice to develop this state of equanimity. The third thing is that equanimity is also the 7th of the enlightenment factors. It is produced by the mind as the last of the factors of the 7 factors of enlightenment. So the first factor is mindfulness, the second is investigation of the Dharma, the third is energy or effort, the fourth is joy, the fifth is tranquility, the sixth is concentration, and the 7th is equanimity. So when we teach equanimity, we teach that there are 3 levels that need to be achieved or practiced to develop this idea of equanimity. The first level of equanimity, as the 10th perfection, someone who is just starting on the development of practicing of Buddhism, we talk about equanimity as the middle way, as keeping your mind calm and steady, not becoming too upset about things and not becoming too elated about things. Understanding that both those situations are coming from one's karma. Okay? So we look at it in the context of the 4 pairs. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha describes the 4 pairs, and he says that all beings, all human beings, are tracking these 4 pairs, and they're called the vicissitudes of life. They're the up and down things that affect us on a daily basis. So the 4 pairs are things like happiness and unhappiness, that's one pair, praise and blame, the second pair, gain and loss, the third pair, and honour and dishonour as the 4th pair. Right? So generally in our life, we're always tracking happiness, gain, praise and honour. And we're running away from, or we're trying to avoid, sadness or unhappiness, loss, blame and dishonour. In the conventional reality, that's normal. That's perfectly normal to do that. And as a Buddhist, it's no different. We don't want to experience loss and all those things. The idea of becoming a Buddhist is not to become miserable. The idea of becoming a Buddhist is to actually become happier. So one of the ways that we teach this is to say that whatever happens in your life, you keep steady. You stay in the middle. You don't get too upset and distressed about things. You don't get too elated about things. You just stay in the middle and keep calm. Keep your mind calm. So if something upsetting happens, you understand that's an upset. That's a loss or a blame or whatever it is. You can label it and accept it for what it is. And usually it shouldn't have happened to me. That's basically the underlying issue with it. It's not fair. It should never have happened to me. I'm such a good person. You know, we all think that, don't we? So the idea is to accept that and to say, oh well, that's just the way it is. And then if something really great happens, and you know, we get really, we blow ourselves up, if you like, you know, and we think, oh wow, that's wonderful, you know, look at what they've given me, etc. It's actually not to do that, because then you're sort of raising yourself so you can almost see yourself, you're going to fall again. You know. So the idea is not to do that, not to have this really low and then this really high, but to develop a very steady attitude towards life, to understand that there are things that are going to be upsetting and there are things that are going to be like a wow factor in your life. But not to track those, just to understand that they're going to happen. In that way, you can gain or contain your energy level, your mental energy level. Okay. So then this second level of developing equanimity as a perfection is to practice the meditations on equanimity. So the meditation of equanimity, or it's called Upekkha Bhavana. Bhavana means development of mind. Is like the loving kindness meditation, you know. So instead of loving kindness, you use equanimity, and you say, may I have equanimity. First, you always start with yourself, towards myself. You know, so you look at all the things that you do in your life, or you've done in your life, or you're going to do in your life, and you develop an equanimous mind towards that. Okay. So if you did something really bad or something really good, you develop a mental state of just seeing it for what it is and accepting it, and not getting too upset or too elated about it. And then you extend that view to the people in your life, you know, your family and friends, the people you work with, your colleagues, the people you may meet, you live with in your household, and then keep going out, you know, to the people that they're just maybe acquaintances. And then further on, the Buddha advises, you have equanimous thoughts towards all beings. So people like that, you know, that are running wars, you know, that you hear in the news, to not get too caught up in putting them down, or too elated in, you know, like movie stars, wow, aren't they amazing? To not allow your mind to get too caught up in that process. Again, it's about containing your energy level to what is important to you. So in the second instant, we develop this meditation, mind development of equanimity towards all beings. And then in the third level, which is like the perfection level, the highest level, equanimity is seen as the seventh factor of enlightenment. So in the Abhidharma, the Buddha explains that in order for someone to become enlightened, and an enlightened mind is a mind that can see things as they really are. It can see directly. So he says that all human beings can develop these factors of enlightenment in their mind, in their mental states. So it starts with mindfulness, and then investigation of the Dharma, and then effort or energy, and then joy, and then tranquility, and then concentration, and then equanimity. So in order to perfect equanimity, you need to start with mindfulness. Mindfulness, becoming really aware of what's happening moment by moment, so you can start to see the phenomena as it really is. So the phenomena might be something like things that you're hearing, things that you're thinking, things that you're feeling. You know, the idea that the Buddha gave us is that with your mindfulness, you can see directly. You can penetrate the phenomena directly with your mindfulness. So that's the first practice, really, in the beginning of practicing Buddhism or developing equanimity, is to become mindful. Yeah. And then you can start to track investigation of the Dharma. Investigating in what way? So we're investigating to see the impermanent nature of the phenomena, to see the unsatisfactory nature of the phenomena, and to see the non-self nature of the phenomena. So this third level of equanimity is actually for someone who wishes to develop equanimity to reach Nibbana or to access Nibbana. So it's a very high level or profound level of study that's involved and practice. Okay. So that's equanimity, Upekkha.